lot of people don't realize that African culture is really hush hush about any problems. They're not taught to speak up on anything. If they have a personal problem with you, at least in East Africa, they won't say anything. And they think it's noble. Some of them consider it to be a very honorable thing not to say anything. And to some degree it is. But when it comes down to effective communication between adults, they are not there yet.
What's good, Ken Gon? This your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the REPAT podcast. I will let you know I'm drunk off of this wine, this red wine. The Freedom Chasers bought it for me, so y'all know how they do. You know how black people are always trying to offer you something to drink. But I'll let them introduce themselves. And we got this guy over here named Mark. He's Africa, get out. So you guys go ahead on how I want to do it.
My name's Tremonte, one half of the Freedom Chasers. And this is my wife,
Jessica, the other half.
I'm Mark. Mark meets Africa.
We're trying to get Mark married on the dating show, but the brother keeps fighting. But me and brother Trevante, we're going to have to hem him up.
I want to find his wife.
I think we got it.
Yeah, we're going to grab as he's trying to, but the both of us together, we're going to go ahead on it.
We got him. We're going to have him.
We're going to carry him to the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
So, brother Trevante, he's a great brother. He's actually more mature than me, and I feel bad because, man, I'm so petty. You have a great husband because I wish I was as wise as he was now. Not even.
Don't do that.
Yeah, when I found out what his age was, I'm like, even him or Mark, I'm like, shit, like, damn, I'm like, I'm really didn't mature. I didn't develop at all.
I wouldn't say that.
No, it's true. I'm petty as shit. But we were talking about our experiences, all of us African Americans. It's the first African American panel. We kicked Joni off on this show today. And one of the things that we've talked about, our brother Trevante is talking about something in the car.
Yeah.
What's our topic today, brother?
Yeah. I would say the topic today is going to be just the mindsets of certain people and how it kind of, I'm not going to say it has to shift, but it would be nice for it to shift. And one of the things is hearing negative things and responding to it in a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to take criticism without thinking that it's hate or anything like that. So that's kind of what me and Mark talked about in the car, and we kind of experienced that since being in Africa, right? Mm-hmm. And let's get into it.
So let me just commend you on you and your lovely wife, and even brother Mark. You're so much more eloquent, and even. Did you meet brother Jay? Jay is here. Jay, stay focused. Mm-hmm. You're so more diplomatic towards what happens in Africa and some of it than me. Yeah, I hit it straight on the head. Like, I'm afraid somebody gonna kidnap me in the street. But and I noticed that you love being here.
Oh yeah.
But obviously there's some problems for us that come from a different way of seeing things. And some of the things you pointed out before we started is normal. What are some of those things that are normal that we want Africa to improve in as diaspora is coming back? Yeah. But we're not hating on the continent. Mm-hmm. We're wanting to get this thing better.
Yeah. So do you want me to start or you want to start, Mark?
Start.
Okay.
He wants you to get
right. He was talking about all in the car.
Yeah. He'll come out diplomatic like Barack Obama, but he gonna leave y'all out to fry.
Okay, you want me to?
But that's how niggas are.
I can start, and then I'll let you. So we had a few issues in Kenya, right?
Okay.
We love Kenya. We've been there and had nothing but great times. And since being there, we spoke positivity about Kenya.
Yes,
like the whole time. And if you go back and watch our videos, you won't see anything otherwise, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like the first negative thing that we said, it wasn't even negative. It was a decision that we made for our lives. The first perceived to be negative thing that happened in Kenya from our videos, we got a lot of backlash from it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people felt some type of way that we didn't choose their country or choose them. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of heartbreaking because it's like, we love Kenya so much. We really have a love for Kenya. We love the people. We love the culture and just everything about it. But I feel like a lot of the mindset there is more so not loving toward us from some people. Now, I wouldn't say the majority, but from a certain group of people. And I say that because when we made that decision, we had a lot of people wishing and praying on our downfall once we made the decision, right? And I said,
can we put up some of those comments there?
Yeah, we have them.
You have them. Let's put. We're gonna put them up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you send them to me. We'll put them up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the comments was basically, to sum it up, I hope when you go to South Africa, I hope the grid blows up and y'all don't have power.
Yeah. We'll want to leave because the whole country's gonna fall apart.
Right, which is like, come on, bro. Like,
well, at least that wasn't that bad, because if it was African American, they would wish you way more than that. But it's okay. But I mean, you know,
I mean, it was so many, and we would have never responded in a way that we did if it wasn't so many people.
It was just getting out of hand.
It was
and
so
then the comments
many.
had comments to where it was turning into all these threads.
But I think
back
that
and
the
forth.
Kenyans, though, they will come.
They
for
know they
you.
come.
We come back though.
We're gonna do that for
I
sure.
don't always come back, but she's the comeback queen.
Yeah.
I usually more
We've
respect.
had it. And Nigerians,
Yeah.
Ghanaians, Kenyans, they got
And
action.
they say he looks Nigerian. People tell him that.
he probably
People
is.
that look West African.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say when it comes to that situation, the mindset, I feel like I would like to shift, and this is why.
Okay.
Because you shouldn't only want people speaking positive about you, right?
Okay.
And I say that because anybody in my life, I want them to be honest with me. And
There
if
you
somebody's only positive with you, then they're not being honest, because
you go.
nobody's perfect,
Right.
and you just have to be genuine. So if I come and say something out that's perceived to be negative about a country, it's not because I hate that country per se, right? It's because I would like to see something that has been a negative or a stumbling block to a lot of people change, right? And so, or in the case that we went through, if we say we like another country a little bit more, it's not that we don't love you or we don't love your country. It's that we just like a place a little bit more. They don't take anything from the
Come on now.
anything away from the love that I have for you guys.
Preach, brother.
I want you to know that.
I would say they took it way more personally.
Like,
Right.
Like when I was reading the comments, I was like, "What?" Like I wouldn't take it that personal because I don't personally know you. You know
How many comments was? Last one was like
saying
700,
things
800
like-
comments. It was something
it
like
was a
that.
lot.
we in one day, I kid you not, in less than 24 hours, we had over 1,000 comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it was 800.
Right.
I didn't even go in there.
But it was like
to
you
look
chose
more.
them.
Yeah, it's like you like,
And I was
you
like,
don't love,
what?
you chose them over us. You think they're better than us. And
Like it was
that's-
like a people against people thing.
Yeah.
And it was
Which
lighting
we
y'all
said
ass
we were
up
gonna
too.
go to this
they
place.
came and
Right.
y'all come, Kenya.
Yeah.
Y'all come, but when we come,
And then
it's
South
like-
Africans were coming back.
which
And then it was getting out of hand.
And this is another thing. A lot of times we was accused of creating division, right? On
Right.
the continent, like, okay, y'all doing these versus
Right.
Right.
videos, right? Because that's some of our most popular videos.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Me too.
This country versus this country. And it's not to put Africans against each other.
There you go.
One of the big main focuses on our channel is to help the diaspora look at Africa in a different light, right?
Come on now.
And so
You guys are doing, let me say this, you guys are doing a wonderful, amazing
Thank
job.
you.
Thank
A
you.
wonderful job.
Thank you. And with that, showing just debunking some of these misconceptions, a lot of people wanting to move there. And so with the people wanting to move there, they want to know, okay, which country fits my lifestyle more?
Right.
There you go.
And so if we're comparing two countries, it's not to put one country against another, but it's to help those looking to move make a solid decision on what they want to go. So we're comparing food, clothing, just everything, economics. So people have the option. It's what, 52, 54 countries on the continent. So why not, choose between them? It's a whole beautiful continent, and they should be able to choose wherever you want to go to live.
Right. What do you have to say, Mark?
Yeah.
You said it for the most
No.
part.
What did you have to say?
Okay, I had I had a similar experience in Tanzania.
Okay.
Now, the people that watch my channel from the beginning know that I said mostly all positive things about Tanzania.
Yes.
And the moment I said something slightly negative, people, I won't say that I had as extreme of a reaction, but I did get some of a pushback.
Yeah.
And it is something that you notice that a lot of, I don't want to say Africa because I don't want to generalize, but a lot of these people that we might say something negative about in terms of Tanzania, Kenya, maybe Uganda, they take it personal.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't realize, like what you said, we're not making these videos so that we can put them down. It's so that we can inform our people. 'Cause they look at us, they think, oh, you know, they're basically trying to be us. They're coming here, they're trying to be like us, live with us. And that's true to some degree, but we're also trying to get our folks over here.
Yeah.
And we know that some of our people look out for X, Y, and Z. If we could say, don't do this because this will happen, or don't go here because this will happen, because they're like us coming, right?
Yeah.
If you're coming, you know, oh, you know, I know 15 other people that are like me that would love this information. And that's a service to them.
Right.
They don't take it as that, which is strange because, you know, we come from a place where you have to be able to take some form of criticism.
Yeah.
You grow up and you take criticism. But I think a lot of people don't realize that African culture is really hush hush about any problems. They're not taught to speak up on anything.
Yeah.
If they have a personal problem with you, at least in East Africa, they won't say anything. And they think it's noble. Some of them consider it to be a very honorable thing not to say anything. And to some degree it is. But when it comes down to effective communication between adults, they are not there yet. Some of our people aren't there yet. Some of our African
people aren't there.
So,
I'm one of them.
but Osha, you see what we can do.
The
though.
truth.
You see what we can do.
I'm petty
we
as
can
hell.
Talk about our problem.
Right.
See, we do that all the time as an American and African American specifically.
Right.
We can speak on our issues all day and all night. Does it mean we're bashing our community? Sometimes yes, but most times no. We're just saying what we see. A lot of Africa considers any form of criticism as hatred because, again, culturally, they don't do that.
Right.
If they have a problem in their family, you just act like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Until something happens where it's obvious that there's a problem, which is passive aggressive.
Right.
And that's the system a lot of East Africa operates on. It's not healthy.
Right.
For each
It's all
person, it's
Africa
not
from
healthy.
what I've seen, mostly. Sorry to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, you're right. I didn't want to say all of Africa. I have a feeling it's all of Africa. I haven't been everywhere.
Right.
But from what I hear, the people who reach out, emails, messages, comments even, people have said this. I talked to a family in Ghana who were having the same issues people were having in Tanzania. And so I said, it must be an African thing. But again, I've been to East Africa, so I know it's in East Africa. If you can't say what you see, then do you really have the freedom to be where you are?
Right.
Right.
Because again, it's not a hate thing.
And we're
Africa,
taught
if
to
you're
stand
watching
up for
it,
ourselves.
Yeah.
So we say stuff.
we have to. Because
Right.
who else is going to?
Right.
I think one of the most disheartening things to me that I've seen with the recent backlash would be that a lot of, and it's in most countries that we've been to, don't want to really learn other cultures outside of theirs. And I say that because let me tell you why I say
Preach,
that.
brother. You building it up now.
Yeah. So when we put the video out, a lot of people were saying, well, we only want to watch Kenyan content. We only want to watch content about this place or this place, right? And it's like, okay, as a continent, we're supposed to be one people, right?
Right.
It shouldn't be divided, but it's very much so divided. And there's a lot of competition between the different countries. So, and one of the reasons behind that is not learning each other's culture. So to tell me, well, if you're not making content about my country, then I don't want to watch you anymore, it's kind of ignorant. Why wouldn't you want to learn more about the world? You know, it's that would make you a more intelligent person to learn about a culture outside of yours, you know? And so to refuse that is, you're kind of small-minded in a sense because you're refusing to learn anything else.
This is the topic I was saying to O'Shea on the phone today or yesterday, which is the African envy problem. And we know that the tribalism still exists. Would y'all agree? And y'all are behind the camera, but that's a thing. Tribalism is a real thing. And we don't always realize how it affects people's minds. They genuinely do not, in some cases, like one another, let alone us coming. We just so happen to represent the thing they do like, money. The reason white people are treated better in Africa than African Americans even is because they are perceived to have more money. And if you serve money as your God, as a lot of people do, I'm not trying to be mean or controversial, but this is something a lot of people serve money. Their God is money.
Yeah.
You've seen it in East Africa. You've seen it where you go. When you see people that treat you less than because they feel you won't give them more, that's what they're serving. They're serving money.
But that's why so many Africans get taken advantage of, right? Like over the past hundreds and hundreds of years, we see colonization. They think a lot of people coming in to help them. So we're going to give you these, we're going to give you this financially. We're going to give you this aid, right? To help your country, or we're going to build these roads and do whatever. And then end up taken advantage of them, right?
Yeah.
Like we see,
Because I'm gonna give you this, but I'm gonna take all of this.
Even
when I leave.
even in Kenya, right?
Yeah.
We see a lot of Chinese in Kenya, right?
Come on now.
Right?
Yeah, around the corner from where we stay, it was like a
you
village or
better
something,
preach.
like a whole
I'm gonna get on the organ. You better preach.
But we see that, right? And if people really know what's going on behind closed doors, they would be like astonished, right? Because the Chinese have came in and built these, whether it be buildings or roads, highways, trains, or whatever, and have put taxes, extreme high taxes. I mean, not taxes, loans. I mean, interest rates.
Yeah.
On the government, which they would never be able to pay back.
Right.
Can I ask?
So now you're going to be forever in servitude
There you go.
to the Chinese. Now they own you.
There you go.
And do they let you in their country?
Can I
is the
add
question
something?
as well.
Come
Absolutely.
on. Preach.
I had a lawyer in Tanzania who explained why in Tanzania, at least, and I'm sure it applies to most of Africa, Tanzania at one point only hired Tanzanian contractors. Only Tanzanians could build roads. Only Tanzanians could do contracts for building. There was a point in Tanzanian history where almost every contractor the government hired would take the money and go live in Europe. They would steal the money and leave. And it was so prevalent, so common, the laws were changed. Chinese are just more, and this is sad to say because, you know, people don't think with their logical mind. They're just thinking here, black. We love our people, but let's not excuse some of the wrong we do. There are mentalities that do not work in Africa, and that's the reason some things don't develop. I have a friend who lives in America. He's from here. I'm not going to call him out or anything like that, but he said it too. From here, Uganda. And at one point he said, Africa doesn't develop in part because Africa has an envy problem or a greed problem or a selfishness problem or a lying problem or a stealing problem or a cheating problem. These are issues we have to solve. Before you build roads and in skyscrapers, you need to fix the mindset, because who's going to maintain those things after they're built? Why would again, Tanzania, at one point, they could only hire Tanzanian contractors. So many of them were stealing the money and leaving that they said it's more financially viable to just hire the Chinese. What does that say about the mentality of the people? And it's the same reason in Tanzania, NGO laws are so different. The NGO laws are very, very, very specific because at one point people were taking advantage of the fact that they could start an NGO and I guess they had some sort of tax exemption. But people took advantage of the system so much that the government had to back up and say, you know what, we're just going to stop using Tanzanians to do anything. So they essentially shot themselves in the foot. And that happens so often in Africa. We're so quick to jump on the Chinese for doing what any country should be doing, expanding its culture, expanding its territory, expanding its influence, expanding its financial gains throughout the world. That's what countries do.
For themselves.
You can't be mad at them for doing what a smart country does. Africa needs to fix its problems first. And part of it is what we were just discussing earlier, a refusal to admit they have any.
Let me just say this. Let's just leave us out of this. Those of us from the African American community. I live here, just like you live all through Africa. What about the Ugandan person's life? Let's just leave us out of it, because maybe they may not look at it from our experience.
Yeah.
What about the person's life? That's the boda driver, that's the vendor that's on the street, the young girl that got talent that could be the next physicist, mathematician. What about her life? What about her? Can she develop in such a system that it exists today in most parts of Africa?
No.
What about her life? Let's leave, because you have a young daughter here. Your daughter wants to be here living in Africa. What are the chances that here for 15, 20 years, will she have the opportunities and other kids here as somewhere else? Now, when we put it in that perspective, maybe those in Africa can understand it. Because you understand what your life is like. Don't you have dreams? Don't you deserve the things you want to do? Or do you feel like you need to get a green card to go to, we see everybody going to Oman or Saudi Arabia or Dubai every day here in the Entebbe airport. Right? So the problems that you see, we're talking about. For whatever reason, you get offended when we say it. But the reality is that a lot of us are on the same team.
We are.
We're on the same team. Because
sense.
what we're trying to say is the problems that are here, as they don't affect, when there's bad roads, I don't care how much money you have. When you go on a pothole, I'm at danger as an American as you are an African.
Right.
You know, when you don't have good power, I'm at danger. Power don't discriminate in Uganda or Tanzania. You're an American, you're living in Masaki. It don't say, you know what, you're African American, so you get power today, and they don't.
Right.
It says, all you ain't no power.
Right.
Right? So what Africans believe is that we're complaining and calling them out, and really our issue isn't with the people because they have no real control over what's going on.
Right.
The situation is that we know that there is talent that can be beneficial to us and them as we're trying to partner with Africa. And you always hear what's so heartbreaking. Why don't you go back where you come from?
Yeah.
You praise is great. I got a good friend of mine, he's one of the first people here in Africa that showed the parts of Africa that nobody knew about in every sector. Africans love to see the luxury of Africa, and I get it because they've been demonized for so long. But when you talk about, here's a problem, look at these gutters or whatever, I don't really show that part, but if you talk about it, it's like, why don't you go back? And the people who are saying that are Africans living in America, you're African living in France.
On YouTube.
Are you fucking
an American company?
I see so many Africans, and I'm going to call out some people. I see Ghanaian Americans. I see Nigerian Americans, Nigerian British, that have a lot of issues with what I say. You're not even there.
Right.
For the same reasons that we're talking about. And it's not out of no hatred or jealousy or anything like that. Because the reality is, as blacks, and in the black world, we know that we have talent. Our people can't do the things we need to do. And we have so much talent that people are going to die in the grave with their talent and their skills. And they're going to die there. Do you know McCary in 1987, the graduating medical school class had like 40 graduates. I'm trying to remember. 20 had AIDS. 20. So they were dead by 1990. So the government spent from 1982 to 1987, 6 or 5 years, educating people, and they died of AIDS. Okay? Now, what does that do to your healthcare system? We don't, if those people were living from now to then, those people could have went and got skills in Canada or came back in America and came back, but they died, so we don't know.
Yeah.
They're dead. So as a diaspora, we're coming back and people don't understand. We're spending our own money. We're spending our own time. You're a lovely couple. You have a daughter. Ain't nobody paying us to be here. We bring, we're bringing light to Kenya. We're bringing so much work that you have. I mean, I'll put it on you three here. You've done so much work in bringing light to countries that nobody would ever knew about. Yeah. I remember when you first came to Tanzania, I was like, who's this guy? You know, I saw this couple here. I'm like, who's this nigga with his wife? You know what I mean? Like, what is he doing? But you as a young person, you showed that you can be young and do something in Africa. And as a married couple, that's something I couldn't, as an older person that wasn't married, that was something I couldn't relate to. You've inspired so many people through your works, and these governments don't understand that. And we're here swinging the bat ourselves, you know, and we're looking at things that needs to happen because we want to be here. But so many people take it as negative. But look at the people that I see leaving every day. I'm in Dubai. I see so many. When I go to Dubai, I'm a turnover. Every restaurant is a Ugandan. Cheesecake, because you know in Dubai, you've been there before? Dubai is a very unique place. I'm going to tell you why. It's where European capitalism makes American capitalism. Right. What that means is you can find Carrefour and Pete's Coffee in the same mall.
Right.
And Pete's Coffee is very unique to the Bay Area. And Carrefour is unique to Europe. But you can't find that in most places. I don't know about Qatar. I've never been there long enough to see it. So they have businesses that are specific to only one part of it. Like Pete's Coffee is only in California, in the Bay Area. But you can find Carrefour and Pete's Coffee and Sofitel in the same place. And you can't even find it in America. You see Ugandans working at every place like that. Qatar, they're in the airports, everywhere. And you're like, you know, you don't even want to ask them what are you doing here because you already know the answer. You know why they're there. Because you go to Entebbe, you see them all the time. So when these people say you're criticizing Africa, and a lot of these Africans are living somewhere in like Boston, you're living in London, you're living in Amsterdam, I'm thinking like, nigga, what are you talking about? you're there because you can't make it here. Go ahead.
Can I add something to
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
I think we actually have to cut some of those Africans abroad some slack. Some of them actually get put in the same boat as us. They're seen as on a very local level traders. Some of
I'm not cutting them no slack. I'm gonna tell you why. Because they know the truth.
Yeah.
We can't cut the people who don't slack. Right? I'm gonna tell you why. We gotta be honest about this. They know better than us.
How bad is
You know
it?
what Akon just said?
What did he say?
Akon around. You know I don't like Akon. Y'all was talking about earlier. I don't like Akon. Akon around and said something real stupid. Every African American would be a millionaire if fully invested in Africa.
True.
Right.
Okay. Now, how many people are in Africa? Let's just leave their community alone. We have African Americans and Black British doing land scams in Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's now regulated. One of the reasons why you chose South Africa because it was better regulated for land purchases. You know, and Sierra Leone. I mean, shout out to them for at least doing that job. But we haven't even done a good job for the African American diaspora and the Caribbean diaspora and the Brazilian diaspora to put a place in Africa for us.
Oh yeah.
So what can we have to fight our way? Claw.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about clawing. Do you know what that means? I've been there 23 times. Claw, I ain't got no finger. I bit them all off. Claw to fight your way into here.
But it can't be that way for the other nations. And I say that because when you go to South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, we see thriving Chinese Asian communities.
Come on now.
We see
Whole
thriving
communities.
Indian communities, European communities, right? And it's like, okay, how are they able to be able to build communities, buy a whole block, whole little town, and thrive there? But when we come there, we don't get the same luxury, right? When I was in Tanzania, a lot of people left Tanzania because, for one, immigration was putting things in place to make it harder for us to stay. For one. And then when people was going to, get extra time to stay, because a lot of times you have to leave every 3 months. When people were going to immigration, they was faced with hate almost, right? To where like, why are you here? Like, go back to your, like, it's time for you to go back. So I'm trying to extend for another 3 months. They would tell them, well, we'll give you a month.
Did you have that problem?
Huh?
Did you have that problem?
We didn't have that problem because we met somebody that helped us out to be able to stay longer. So we didn't have the issue, but many people are facing those issues with staying long term. So you have to think, what are the real laws, right? Because if this group of people are able to stay and build a whole community and not have any issues and I have to go back every 3 months, leave, and so what's it? What is it? Where's this difference coming from?
There was an American thing though too, because remember we met that lady she was from like Sweden or something. It was another Black lady, but she was from somewhere else. And we were like, yeah, because you have to leave. She was like, you have to leave.
Yeah, they didn't.
Like it was an American passport thing that you have to leave every 3 months.
Can I? I think what you described when you mentioned the Chinese, Indian, European communities is their actual communities. Black people traveling don't travel as any community.
Yeah, everybody's
We are
solo dolo.
individuals.
Yeah.
And the reason Tanzania, because I talked to, and I won't say because obviously you can't say a lot with government people, but one thing I found through talking to people who had that experience that you described, as well as talking to people who gave that experience, is that we came with a mentality they did not like. Yeah. The aggressive, angry, bitter, cut your throat mentality. They don't do that. East Africa is polite, it's quiet, it's you have to be proper, it's British. And I know some people will get me on that. They'll say, no, that's African before the British came. But really, they brought that. And the system is you don't speak when there's a problem and you have to be very quiet when you have an issue. Women don't come here talking. A lot of our women came over there and I talked to some of them because I had to deal with situations they got themselves into dealing with immigration. One lady got punched in the chest at 54 years old by an immigration officer.
In the
but you
chest.
tell these stories and people are like, that didn't happen because nobody talks about it. Because one, it's embarrassing. And two, all these people saying positive things, when that negative thing hits you, you're like, wait, what? I thought it was everyone else. No, it's you too.
And our people too, as far as Black Americans.
Yeah.
We have, I think part of the issue is with us too, right? Like, just like you were saying, but to elaborate on that more, because we come, and even when we try to come together, just like in America, it's always some issues, petty issues that cause us to be divided, right?
Petty.
Very petty. It can be for the stupidest things.
Yeah.
And it separates us.
race.
And so
Y'all
when these
I
other
didn't know.
when the other nations come in, they're more together, right?
Yeah.
They're more as one, and they can and get on one accord,
Right.
And partly, I think, it's because they were taken into slavery and been in America 400 years, and all of the things that happened, but they thrive more because they have more togetherness than Black Americans per se, right? And I feel like it's kind of like this. It's kind of the same with the people in Africa because they've been divided. Like we're just in Rwanda, and when they got colonized, they separated the pretty much gave them nationalities, right? Like you're this, you're this, right?
Yeah.
And
Same thing
then,
in Burundi.
right? And they did the same thing in South Africa with you're colored, you're this, you're this, right? And with those divisions, it pretty much stuck, right? And we see this happening today with those divisions, and now a lot of African countries are divided in this sense, right? So
Yeah. And they did a thorough job.
Let's see what your wife has to say.
I was just thinking it's kind of hard to judge on that point because it's still like that with us in America.
yeah, that's
Even the light skin and the dark skin and all that stuff that came all the way from slavery all the way to now.
Let me just say this though. I hate to say this, but as a group, we're the same people.
Yeah.
We're very much more united than I'm not trying to be. I feel like we're the most united. This is personally. Our group was more united. I've never seen more united Blacks than us, ever. After coming here. You can cancel me if you want. I've never seen a group that supports other Blacks and our people like us.
I feel like we didn't have a choice at certain.
We're the same. Right? We're the same exact group,
right?
Even though you're from Louisiana,
Right.
But when I came in here, I was drunk when I came in here, right? Y'all wasn't tripping because nigga shit, whatever, right? we all know if we go to any Baptist church in Louisiana, we all know the same songs.
Yeah.
That's true.
Is it true?
Mm-hmm.
We just have all these commonalities that we kind of
everywhere. We the same. But in Africa, somebody from the north is different from somebody from central. In Uganda, they're not the same like we are. We have problems, but we the same. St. Louis over her, there, but we ain't
I
tripping.
still know what you're talking about.
Even if we go to Philadelphia, we hear some slang. We'll be like, "What are you talking about?" But after a while, we'll be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, but that's not the case with here.
Yeah.
Because in Louisiana, y'all say move around, right? You know, move around.
Nah, that's more like Texas.
Texas, Louisiana, somewhere. But we don't say that in California, but we know what that means if we sit there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you need to like kick rocks or whatever. But we're the same group, even though Mark is lost right now. We're the same group. That's why it's easier for us.
But I think the problem is, especially when you look at traveling, like for example, if an African travels to America, right?
Yes.
They have Nigerian communities that are prosperous in America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times people that's coming from Nigeria, a lot of them are very prosperous in what they're doing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You don't see that as much as from Americans coming to Africa. As far as building.
Yeah, they still stick together.
Yeah.
And they might live in a house together where we're going to say, I want to get this, 3-bedroom house in Tanzania because it's for the low. But no, you can't live with me even though I have empty rooms. We can't work
together.
because
it's more division when we travel outside of
right. Because we're not used to going nowhere.
Yeah.
This is the first time African Americans have come somewhere.
That's true.
Ever.
That's true.
But at the same time, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, if you pick the best group of a lot of Africans that are talented, they'll do good anywhere. Mm-hmm. But if you take our best groups and bring them here, it's already documented evidence of that Blacks Without Borders in South Africa. So as a community, let me just say this. My grandma's generation, before civil rights, they operated more or less, you could leave your door open and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But Africans, they are more communal in general. Mm-hmm. Right. And they share shoes, food, and stuff. Most of us, we put our sandals on. Nigga, get off my sandal. What's what you put my shoes on?
Your feet been?
Yeah, what's wrong with where your feet been at? Right. But that's not how we rock. Even in 2020, Johnny will tell you, I was living with them for like a year straight in lockdown. I had to learn that skill. I had to relearn how to be in the community. And some of us haven't learned how to do that, how to solve. And I saw your video. As learning how to be in the community here, I learned that from Africa.
Yeah.
How to relearn. Being here taught me that.
Yeah.
Because in America, ain't no way I would like want to like, oh, I'm going to have somebody living in my house. Like, I'm going to get a big house for me.
Right.
But coming here, it taught me, okay, wait a minute. You need to be more or less, living in the community and things like that. So Africa teaches us that as African Americans, because now we know like, okay, our brothers is here.
Right.
You know what I mean? We need to share our stuff a little bit more than we would in America. Because America is all about us. It's the kind of society. Yeah. And we got away from that because we used to be like that. My grandma's generation, anybody can it was just like that, I mean, just especially in the country, it was just the African village.
That was very common.
Very common. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna call you daddy, whatever. But then we got away from that. When we come to Africa, I saw a little kid. I know I'm sorry to say this, but storytime music. It was a little kid. Everybody, right? It was 2. It was during lockdown. I was coming back, and me and Julia had a pot. We had a show that day. It's 2020. It was these 2 little kids fucking with this dude, and he was telling them something in Luganda, but I didn't know what he was saying. But he's pointing. I could tell him like, you need to stop that. You up, right? And they kept on, and he took off his shoe. It wasn't his kids. I could tell it was somebody else's kids. And he was running around, and he was like trying to time it. You know what I mean? Like he was like, you know how niggas be when they trying to like, they start, getting it. And when they came, he just bow. And they just like, he got up, and a little part of me was like, you got the motherfucker. You know what I mean? But I know like in America, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that because that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
So in a way, I would say like it taught me how to be a more like a community-based person living here. I mean, is that your experience? Or?
Oh, absolutely. We don't see that as much in America for sure. Like with everything you just mentioned, and that's what I feel like. Even if you're not coming to move to Africa, that people from America or just diaspora in general should come to Africa just to see that dynamic, right? Because that's something we for sure can learn from.
Yeah,
right.
We don't
because
have it no more.
if we don't, and that's partly why we have some of the issues that we have in America. Because before, during civil rights, our people were together, like everything. You know what I'm saying? You see marriages. The marriage rates were way higher.
We're the most married group in America,
Right.
And the husband-wife dynamic and just how the structure went, we prospered way more. Once that changed, we see where our people are at now, and it's not a good state that a lot of Black Americans are in right now. I feel like if we do come to Africa and see this, then maybe we can change and start developing some of those things that we see from our fellow Africans, right?
Yeah.
So
they're good at that for sure.
Yeah. Like absolutely, that community, and that's why I feel like they go to America wherever they go, and they can build with each other, and they can thrive
because the cultural's in them. They're not trying to figure out how to do it.
And
they're trying to figure out how to do it, how to make it work.
And why you see so many of us come here for 6 months, 3 months, or a year, and then have to go back because we have no support. We have that family dynamic is not there,
right?
And it just ended up not working.
Can I just say this before we go to Brother Mark? I have a very controversial episode about African American single mothers in Africa.
Yeah.
And man, they came from me. And one thing I would say about you as a brother, you are much more mature than me in many things. I can't even believe your age. Because he is a great brother as a man, as a young man.
Appreciate it.
I mean, he's a great brother because I'm not even where he at 42. This is a young man that is I was like, man, how old are you, brother? Like, I thought you was like the way you carry yourself. I mean, he's a just very mentally mature. And to have a man like that in your life as a woman, most women don't have that. I'm trying to tell you something.
Yeah,
they don't. They don't.
A lot of them don't have a man. Period.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, I see so many sisters moving in here in Africa with no man, 2 kids, 3 kids by different dudes.
Yeah,
coming to Africa, messing around, and when you see these other people here, like the Indians and running the economy, they moving like y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't be an Indian woman that's a single mom and be in the community. That's out. Lebanese, it's out.
Yeah.
The men in these communities, they'll make sure that women is taken care of. If you got to suffer, you know what I mean? And that's what you got to have. And so for a lot of our brothers that's coming to Africa as African Americans, that shit that works over there, a lot of this I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just how I want. I don't work here. And you need a lot of men that put you or help, not put you in any place, but to help you. Men are builders in Africa. That's what works.
Yeah.
And another thing too is that's things that we agree with. But to get back to the point, there's some things that's going on here in the culture that you lose a lot of talent. You're not maintaining your talent.
Mm-hmm.
And your best people are somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to basically say those things.
Right.
We're not talking, we praise you on the good things, you're okay with that. But some of the stuff that you brothers and sisters got going on over here, I'm going to keep telling you every podcast. I don't what you say. Me personally, I live here, so it's okay. You know where I live. Y'all are doing some shit that don't make sense to me in some aspects. And for those of you who got the biggest mouths over there, you're not even in your country. You're somewhere in America, in London, drinking Starbucks and shit. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would just say this and end it off for me with this. It's just that the only way you can learn is by criticism.
There you go.
So if you refuse to take criticism, you would never learn.
Right.
And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, you can't grow if you're never wrong. You can't correct wrong behavior if you feel like you're right. You won't even try. So being blind to it, it just kind of makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just throw in there, we have a self-esteem problem. A lot of our people don't like themselves. And unfortunately,
Yeah, that's
that's
true.
part of why we can't accept any form of criticism.
Yeah.
Because that last straw for most of us is that little bit of criticism, because it's mostly something we probably already know. So when you say it and you see us fully, that's enough for us to say, no, that's too much. So we shut down. And then a lot of us don't like each other to begin with because of that passive aggressive tendency we have towards ourselves. We don't like something about ourselves. We look at that person triggers something in us, and that's enough for us to treat them badly. Right. And that's why we don't build. That's why we don't live together. It's why we don't eat together. It's why we don't build together. It's why we always want to do something different than one another. We can't live in the same house because we don't like each other. Until our people learn to like each other, we will never develop. And I believe our people are stuck at that point until the lesson is received. Learn to like one another, or at least learn to get along. Get over whatever issue you have with yourself and move on. When we can do that, we can move on. Until we can do that, we're going to keep being in this position at the bottom of the barrel, crabs in a barrel.
There you go.
So
can I just say one more thing? Put the camera on me. You niggas out here, let me tell you something, okay?
Oh, no.
I'm not going to be real. Have a lot to say in the comments all the time about me, which I really want to take. I don't. I wish I did. Yeah, put the camera on. Let them see it. I don't care. I wish I woke up in the morning giving a about what y'all got to say. I wish I did. I wish I cared. I really wish I did. I wish I cared. If I got up in the morning, I thought about what you had to say. I wish I did, but I don't. I have never thought about in the morning what in y'all had to say. I don't care, because the truth is the truth. But I want to tell you, brothers, this is something, okay? We have to really stop being so petty. Yeah. We need to come together really and fight it out. To be honest, Nigerians, Ghanaians, blacks, Americans, whatever. Just getting fight it out and argue. And all the names you want to throw, it. Let's just throw the names. It's okay. But we know individually, after a certain time, we'll stop doing that. And we will get to where we need to be eventually. But it comes at a certain point where we got to start wanting to treat each other better than these other groups. Look at Harvard. I want to just use Harvard as example, MIT, Boston College, any of them, USC. They are coming looking for your talent in your community. Your builders of your societies, Tanzania, Uganda, Ghana, Black America, they recognize that. If your son is 12 years old, 13 years old, smart, sports, academics, look at Deion Sanders. Look at what you see. You watch football, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Look, you don't want them? Take them. Immediately they're going over there. Now, the white man's going to come and give them multi-million-dollar contracts and stuff. They're going to end up with a white wife, white husband. They're gone. Like Deion at Jackson State. Now, Jackson State can't keep a fucking president. They've had like 5 or 6 presidents in the last 12 years. Now, whose fault is that? It ain't Deion's fault. So whatever talent you get and these people know, they're going to take those people from you. And those people are the builders. We don't have many AG Gassons anymore. Everybody gonna stay pro-black or be like this brother here and his wife and stick with the black community. Everybody not gonna do that. Some people gonna weigh their options. And when they weigh their options, they ain't always be black. Then you're gonna be mad. So when somebody talks about it's an issue, you're gonna get offended. Black America, Africa, whatever, it don't matter. They're coming to get your people regardless. And then you don't have those people that can create businesses for you, content for you, or whatever it is. They're going somewhere else. It'll be your fault. Because the white man gonna come and take your people, or in Dubai or in Saudi Arabia, your talent is going away from you.
It's what he does. A conqueror.
Yeah. He ain't even gotta even sell no drugs in the community. Just take your best people and pickpocket them left and right. That's all they gotta do. And who's up because of that? It's you. So you can get mad at me or them if you want. We got 2 words for you called brain drain. You deal with it and see whose fault is it. And you ask me, since the civil wars of the Biafra War or the Northern Civil War in Uganda or any civil war in Africa, were we there? Whose fault is it you got a brain drain? In Black America or in Africa? Is there any of these people here? We wasn't even alive in most of that. Whose fault is it? Then you got to think about the mentality because it's your fault. So before you get mad, think about that shit. Think about it. Think about it. Take another drink. Think about it.
So as we end this, I just want to say, appreciate you for having us on this podcast,
yeah, brother. We been building that, brother.
And, you've been showing us much love. I just want to give you flowers, man, and say you're a good dude, man.
Don't tell these niggas because they're going to be wanting to come and ask me.
He's horrible. He's horrible.
Yeah. Lie, honey.
He ain't nobody. He
terrible person.
Garbage human being. But once again, our YouTube channel is at Freedom Chasers Life, or if you just type in Freedom Chasers on YouTube, you'll find us. And Instagram, Freedom Chasers Life. TikTok, Freedom Chasers Life.
Mark Meets Africa. AfricanMerge.com.
That's your website.
Niggas know better than to ask me where you can message me because I don't answer your messages. But if you want to try, it's there. I mean, I ain't going to look at it, but it's okay. You can try. O'Shea Duke. Oh, follow at King Ghana Nation. Follow the Pan-African Dating Show at the Pan-African Dating Show. We can even find you a wife or a husband if you're not ugly enough. See you guys next time.